Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Building Beehives for Dummies by Howland Blackiston. Narrated by Jonathan Yen. Publisher's note. In this audio edition, you will hear references to figures and tables present in the print and e-book formats of the book. Limit of liability, disclaimer of warranty. The publisher and the author make no representations or warranties with respect to the accuracy or completeness of the contents of this work, and specifically disclaim all warranties, including, without limitation, warranties of fitness for a particular purpose. No warranty may be created or extended by sales or promotional materials. The advice and strategies contained herein may not be suitable for every situation. This work is sold with the understanding that the publisher is not engaged in rendering legal, accounting, or other professional services. If professional assistance is required, the services of a competent professional person should be sought. Neither the publisher nor the author shall be liable for damages arising herefrom. The fact that an organization or website is referred to in this work as a citation and/or a potential source of further information does not mean that the author or the publisher endorses the information the organization or website may provide, or recommendations it may make. Further, listeners should be aware that Internet websites listed in this work may have changed or disappeared between when this work was written and when it is heard. Introduction. Beekeepers are a self-reliant lot. They're quick to find practical ways to care for their bees and discover innovative, cost-effective solutions to beekeeping problems. Typically, beekeepers are passionate about nature and the well-being of the environment. So it's no wonder that more and more beekeepers are finding out how to build their own beehives and equipment. Sure, you can purchase kits from beekeeping supply vendors, but doing it yourself is very enjoyable and satisfying. You may even save some money. In today's green world of self-sufficiency, sustainability, and back-to-basics mentality, why not roll up your sleeves and make a beeline for a little side hobby that both you and your bees will appreciate and benefit from? Whether you're a new beekeeper or a seasoned old-timer, this book provides you with a step-by-step approach for building some of the world's most popular hive designs and beekeeping accessories. And don't fret if you don't know much about carpentry or woodworking. I've kept the designs and instructions as simple and straightforward as possible. About this book. If you poke around the Internet, you can drum up a variety of plans for building beehives and accessories. The problem is that almost none of these offers lucid, step-by-step instructions and illustrations for how to build and assemble these hives. None offers a detailed materials list so you know how much wood, hardware, and fasteners you need for a particular design. They often lack explanations of how certain designs benefit the bees and enhance your ability to be a better beekeeper. They seldom have instructions on how to make certain cuts or joinery. In contrast, you'll find all the information and answers you need in this book, the pros and cons associated with each design, estimated building costs, degree of difficulty, detailed lists of what materials to buy, exact specs on how to cut the lumber, precise instructions and clear illustrations for assembly, and more. I even include a chapter on 10 things you can do to add special touches and embellishments to the designs in this book. This book includes designs for 6 different beehives, Part 2, and 7 beekeeping accessories, Part 3, including frames. I selected the designs based on their overall popularity among today's backyard beekeepers and their compatibility with commercially available equipment, add-ons, and accessories. I've organized the material in this book in a logical way to help you quickly find the information you need and go straight to it. Here's some good news for you skimmers out there. You don't have to listen to this book from start to finish to build a beehive. If you're an old pro at woodworking, you can skip the text dealing with woodworking tools, equipment, materials, and skills. If you're an experienced beekeeper, you can skip the text that explains the components of a hive and their significance to bees. You're welcome to make a beeline to the design that beckons you and just start building. But if you decide to listen to the book straight through and absorb all the information, I won't complain. Conventions used in this book. Before you get started, you should be aware of a few conventions, that is, standard formatting techniques that are used in this book. When using one of the web addresses, just type in exactly what you hear in this book. This book has mucho measurements and numerical notations. All the measurements are in customary U.S. units, inches and feet. Happily, you can find wonderful websites and smartphone apps to make the conversion from the U.S. system to the metric system if you need to. In the tables that list materials, I express feet as a single quotation mark, as in 8 feet, and inches as double quotation marks, as in 2 inches. And when I discuss board lumber, I use the letter X as an abbreviation for the word by, as in 2 inches by 3 inches. When providing overall measurements, I always list them in this sequence: length by width by height, or alternatively thickness. Many of the plans in this book suggest using clear pine as a building material. By clear, I mean pine lumber with straight, even grain and virtually no knots. Depending on where you live, clear pine may also be known as select pine or grade C pine. If you can't find this grade in your area, you can always use a lesser grade with knots. The bees won't care. But you may have to plan on some extra material in case a pesky knot winds up being right where you plan to join 2 pieces together. When you purchase lumber at the store, you order it based on what's known as its nominal size. But here's the confusing part. The actual size of the lumber is always a little bit smaller. Nominal refers to its rough dimension before it's trimmed and sanded to its finished size at the lumber mill. When a 2x4 is cut out of a log, it is, in fact, 2 inches by 4 inches. But after the board is dried and planed, it becomes its actual size of 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. In the chapters, the material lists refer to the nominal sizes of lumber, and the cut sheets refer to the actual size. Foolish assumptions. In tailoring this book for you, I've made a few assumptions. You're a beekeeper, or hope to become a beekeeper, and you're interested in building your own beehives, accessories, and equipment. You already know enough about beekeeping that I don't have to explain how to care for your bees. If you want to learn more about beekeeping, check out my other book, Beekeeping For Dummies, 2nd edition, Wiley. You're a fairly competent DIYer, do-it-yourselfer, or you're interested in discovering some basic skills that allow you to build your own beehives and accessories. I didn't write this book to show you woodworking skills, although I cover some basics in Chapter 4. I wrote this book for the neophyte or advanced woodworker who's eager to build some beehives and accessories. You needn't be an expert, and you needn't have a workshop full of fancy, expensive woodworking equipment. But the spirit is willing. If you can drive a nail and cut a straight edge with a table saw, you'll be completely comfortable building any of the designs in this book. I've graded the various designs based on their degree of building difficulty. If you're a little shaky at this carpentry thing, start with an easy build to hone your skills. before tackling plans that are a bit more complex. You know how to follow schematic plans and how to build from them. I also include step-by-step narrative assembly instructions to round out the information you glean from the drawings. How this book is organized. The book features 4 parts, with several chapters in each part. Each chapter is broken down into smaller, more digestible sections that you can easily identify by headings in bold type. I also include lots of photos and illustrations. Each, I hope, is worth 1,000 words. The following sections describe how the book is structured. Part 1. The Buzz on Beehives. Chapter 1 provides a brief overview of all the major topics in this book. In Chapter 2, you find out more about the remarkable honeybee and discover the hive features that are most critical for the bee's shelter, safety, and ability to grow and prosper. Also in Chapter 2, I help you figure out the best location for your hives and show you how to satisfy the needs of neighbors and abide by regional laws and regulations. And I include info that helps you decide which of the hive designs in this book best meets the needs of your bees and you, the beekeeper. Chapter 3 is devoted to identifying the tools and equipment you need to build the hives and accessories in this book. And Chapter 4 has an array of helpful tips and instructions for fine-tuning basic carpentry skills. Part 2. The world's most popular beehive designs. This part provides detailed materials and cut lists, plus step-by-step illustrated instructions for building the following popular hive designs, listed here based on degree of difficulty to build, starting with the easiest first. Kenya top bar hive and stand, 5-frame nuke hive, 4-frame observation hive, Warre hive, British national hive, Langstroth hive, both 8 and 10-frame models. Part 3. Sweet Beehive Accessories. This part provides detailed materials and cut lists, plus step-by-step illustrated instructions for building and assembling the following beekeeping accessories. Frame jig, to help you assemble frames quickly and easily. Double-screened inner cover, for the 8-frame Langstroth hive, the 10-frame Langstroth hive, the nuke hive, and the British national hive. Elevated hive stand, IPM screened bottom board, hive top feeder for the 8-frame and 10-frame Langstroth hive, solar wax melter, Langstroth frames, shallow, medium, and deep. Part 4. The Part of Tens. Finally, no For Dummies book is complete without the Part of Tens, so I offer a collection of extra takeaway information not found elsewhere in the book. In Chapter 18, I share 10 things you can do to better maintain your hives and accessories to give you added years of service. Chapter 19 presents 10 fun ideas for adding extra features, doodads, and options that will make your hives unique and bling-orific. Icons used in this book. Peppered throughout this book are helpful icons that present special types of information to enhance your listening experience. Remember. I use this icon to point out things that need to be so ingrained in your consciousness that they become habits. Keep these points at the forefront of your mind when building your hives and accessories. Technical stuff. This icon highlights information that's interesting, to me at least, but not crucial to your understanding of building beehives. Tip. Think of these tips as words of wisdom that, when applied, can make your experience building hives and accessories more pleasant and fulfilling. Warning. These warnings alert you to potential boo-boos that can make your beehive building experience unpleasant or even dangerous. Take them to heart. beyond the book. In addition to what you're listening to right now, this book comes with a free Access Anywhere cheat sheet. To get this cheat sheet, go to dummies.com and search for Building Beehives for Dummies cheat sheet by using the search box. Where to go from here. This book isn't linear, meaning you don't have to listen to everything sequentially from start to finish. Feel free to buzz around as your needs and interests dictate. But here are a few helpful hints. If you want to find out how the hives you build will support your bees' needs, start with Chapter 2. This chapter helps you understand how a colony uses a hive, helps you decide where to locate your hives, and guides you in choosing a hive design that best matches your beekeeping objectives and your woodworking skills. If you're ready to start thinking about what tools and materials you need to build your hives and accessories, skip to Chapter 3. Feeling a little uncertain about your woodworking skills? Chapter 4 can help you brush up on some good basic carpentry techniques that you'll use throughout the builds. If you're ready to get on with it and check out some building plans, rush right to Parts 2 and 3. Happy building. 1. The buzz on beehives. In this part, here's where I set the groundwork for finding out the basics of building beehives. First, I cover the structure of a beehive, and then I tell you how to select the best hive for your needs and skills, where to place your hives, and what tools and materials you need to build them. I even give you some suggestions for fine-tuning your carpentry skills. This part has all the info you need to get ready for your adventure in building beehives and beekeeping equipment. Chapter 1. Getting Sweet on Building Your Own Beehives. In this chapter, getting the scoop on bees and their lives, seeing the advantages of building versus buying hives, planning your beehive build, putting together the right workspace, tools, and materials, honing your woodworking skills, digging into beehive designs. My backyard beekeeping adventure started in 1983, and I've never ceased to be amazed by these endearing creatures, the profound contribution they bring to gardening and agriculture through their pollination services, their remarkable social and communication skills, and, of course, that wonderful bonus of a yearly harvest of pure, all-natural, delicious honey. It's no wonder that beekeepers speak with such warmth about their girls. As a beekeeper, it doesn't take long to expand the scope of your hobby into related beekeeping adventures, such as candle making, mead brewing, and a host of other honeybee-related activities. And if you have even a remote interest in woodworking and building things, it's only natural to want to learn how to build a home for your beloved bees. In this chapter, I include some information to help you get ready for building your own beehives and accessories. I start with Honeybees 101, a mini review of the bountiful bee and what goes on inside a beehive. Then I turn to some ideas for setting up your beehive-making shop, fine-tuning your woodworking skills, and deciding which of the plans in this book best meet your needs and skills. Being in the know about bees. So you want to build some hives for your precious bees? You're going to have fun. You have many options regarding the hives you can build, but before you dig in, it's helpful to understand a little bit about these extraordinary creatures. Honeybees' most important job? Pollination. Honeybees are a critical part of the agricultural economy. They account for more than 80% of all pollination of crops. In fact, honeybees pollinate more than 100 cultivated crops, including various fruits and vegetables, nuts, herbs, spices, and numerous ornamental plants. According to the Agriculture Department at the University of Arkansas, honeybees add an estimated $15 billion to the U.S. economy each year in increased crop yields. Since 2006, the population of honeybees has been dwindling at an alarming rate. The reasons for this die-off of colonies are not yet fully understood at the time of this writing, but the consequence is laser-sharp. A spring without bees would seriously endanger our food supply. Building hives and establishing some colonies of bees in your neighborhood makes an important contribution to reintroducing pollinating bees to your neck of the woods. Why honeybees are great pollinators. Honeybees can outperform all other types of pollinators in nature for a number of reasons. The honeybee's body and legs are covered with branched hairs that effectively catch and hold pollen grains. When a bee brushes against the stigma, female part, of the next flower she visits, some of the pollen grains from the previous flower are deposited, and the act of cross-pollination is accomplished. Unlike other pollinating insects that lie dormant all winter and then emerge in the spring in very small numbers, the honeybee colony overwinters, with thousands of bees feeding on stored honey. Early in the spring, the queen begins laying eggs, and the already large population explodes to many tens of thousands of bees that carry out pollination activities. The honeybee tends to forage on blooms of the same kind as long as they're flowering, versus hopping from one flower type to another. This single focus makes for particularly effective pollination. The honeybee is one of the few pollinating insects that can be introduced to a garden at the gardener's will. The products of the honeybee. In addition to the wonderful pollination services that honeybees provide, they produce products that you can harvest and put to all kinds of uses. These products include beeswax. Honeybees secrete wax from 8 glands located along their abdomen. They use beeswax to build the hexagonal cells in which they raise their brood and store their honey and pollen. You'll probably get several pounds of surplus wax for every 100 pounds of honey that you harvest. You can clean and melt down this wax for all kinds of uses, including candles, furniture polish, and cosmetics. Pound for pound, wax is worth more than honey, so it's definitely worth a bit of effort to reclaim this prize. In this book, the Kenya top bar hive and the Warre hive give you a lot of beautiful wax because, with these particular hives, you remove and crush the honeycomb to harvest your honey. To render the wax you collect from your hives, use a solar wax melter. Honey. Bees use honey as food, just like humans do. It's their carbohydrate. For people, eating local honey is said to relieve the symptoms of pollen-related allergies. There's something magical about bottling your own honey, and I can assure you that no other honey tastes as good as the honey made by your own bees. How much honey can you expect? The answer to that question varies depending on the weather, rainfall, and location and strength of your colony, but producing 40 to 80 pounds or more of surplus honey per hive isn't unusual. In this book, the best hives for producing copious amounts of the precious liquid gold include, in potentially dwindling order of abundance, the Langstroth hive, the British National hive, the Warre hive, and the Kenya top bar hive. Pollen. Bees use pollen like they use honey, as food. And why not? Pollen is one of the richest and purest of natural foods, consisting of up to 35% protein and 10% sugars, carbohydrates, enzymes, minerals, and vitamins, including A, carotenes, B1, thiamine, B2, riboflavin, B3, nicotinic acid, B5, pantothenic acid, C, ascorbic acid, and H, biotin. You can harvest pollen from your bees using a pollen trap. They're available from any beekeeping supply house. You can sprinkle a small amount on your breakfast cereal or in yogurt, as you might do with wheat germ. I like to sprinkle some on salads as a colorful addition. It's said that eating a little local pollen every day can relieve the symptoms of pollen-related allergies. When you have your own beehives, all-natural allergy relief is only a nibble away. Both the British National Hive, Chapter 9, and the Langstroth Hive, Chapter 10, lend themselves to effective pollen harvesting, as these are the hive types for which commercially made pollen traps are available. Propolis. Sometimes called bee glue, this super sticky, gooey material is gathered by bees from trees and plants. The bees use this brown goop to fill drafty cracks in the hive, strengthen comb, and sterilize their home. Propolis contains vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and flavonoids that are said to promote anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, and antibiotic properties. You'll see a number of products in health food stores that contain propolis, everything from toothpaste to emollients to cough drops. You can harvest propolis from any of the hives in this book by simply scraping it off of the hive surfaces with your hive tool. In addition, many beekeeping supply vendors sell special propolis traps that encourage a particularly large harvest of the goo. Propolis can be rendered at home into various products, including medicinal tinctures and even a top-quality wood varnish. Technical stuff. Propolis has remarkable antimicrobial qualities that guard against bacteria and fungi. Its use by bees makes the hive one of the most hygienic domiciles found in nature. This property hasn't gone unnoticed over the centuries. The Chinese have used it in medicine for thousands of years. Even Hippocrates touted the value of propolis for healing wounds. Royal jelly. Royal jelly is a creamy substance made of digested pollen and honey or nectar mixed with a chemical secreted from a gland in a nurse bee's head. It transforms an ordinary worker bee into a queen bee and extends her lifespan from 6 weeks to 5 years. In health food stores, royal jelly commands premium prices, rivaling imported caviar. Products containing royal jelly are sold as dietary supplements that boast all kinds of benefits, including weight control, energy stimulant, skin health, and even improved reproductive health and fertility. Royal jelly contains an abundance of nutrients, including essential minerals, B-complex vitamins, proteins, amino acids, collagen, and essential fatty acids, just to name a few. Using an eyedropper or an itty-bitty spoon designed for this purpose, you can harvest royal jelly from the queen cells in your hives. That's the primary place the bees deposit it, and sell it for a pretty penny. Any of the hives in this book, except for the 4-frame observation hive in Chapter 7, would provide you with this opportunity. The larger the hive, the larger the harvest. But note that a large number of colonies are required to harvest anything beyond a minimal amount of royal jelly. Warning: although the health benefits of ingesting honey, pollen, propolis, and royal jelly have been touted for centuries, keep in mind that there's a relatively small percentage of the population that can have a severe and dangerous allergic reaction to ingesting the products of the honeybee. If you don't know your own situation, play it safe and consult your doctor or allergist before adding these products to your diet. the main players in a beehive. In nature, honeybees typically build their hives in the hollow of a tree or some other cave-like environment. They like to be off the ground, safe from predators, and well protected from harsh weather. The hives in this book
Sample complete. Ready to continue?